stripes.
Done.
Yellow with black dots.
Done.
Pink.
Done.
Red.
Done.
Blue.
Done.
Black.
Done.
Yellow.
What's up guys, Flex here, and the amazing world of Gumball, airing way back in 2011, has been revered as one of the best cartoons to ever bless the network of the same name. But how good is the series really? Upon doing some internet browsing, the general consensus is that the show started off rough with season 1, but peaked with seasons 2 and 3 and fizzled out by seasons 5 and 6. Of course, this is only a generalization. How good can we really know how good the series is unless we break down every episode and find out what works and what doesn't work for the show? I'm sure you can see where I'm going with this. So to get a confident assessment of Gumball as a whole, we're going to be reviewing all 240 episodes, dear God help me, one season at a time, and ranking them from worst to best. All this is probably in the thumbnail already, but you know, I gotta look out for my people with no eyes.
How did they even click on the video?
Today we'll be cracking season 1, widely considered by most to be the lowest point in the series for the show. That's not to say that it was bad though, there were still some pretty decent reviews for the season. I'll give each episode a score out of 10, then we'll add up all the scores to get an objective look at the season as a whole. Follow all my socials on screen and don't forget to like this video. Let's see if we can get 1K likes, yeah? And with all the pleasantries out the way, let's get started with the worst episode of the first season. Number 36, The Dress. When Gumball goes to school wearing a dress, everyone thinks he's a new foreign student. Calling it now, this has to be the stupidest episode of Gumball of all time. Everyone in the town, including the adults like Rocky and Miss Simeon, think that Gumball is some sort of royalty all because he's wearing a wedding dress. It'd be one thing if just the dudes were hypnotized by his beauty or whatever, but why are the girls enamored with him too? Darwin's creepily obsessed with Gumball as well, doing things like collecting his sweat in a locket and trying to kiss him on a roller coaster. And as funny as that kid's joke is out of context, in context, it's hella creepy. The ending's stupid too. Gumball essentially kills off his alter ego by painting a balloon. Crazy how they can't tell the difference between a real person and a balloon when one of them literally is a balloon. And Darwin falls in love with a fire hydrant because it has a dress on it. Gumball also spends most of this episode naked, which just adds to the overall weird vibe of the dress. Number 35, The Laziest. Richard challenges the boys to a lazy off. This episode has a problem that a lot of Richard episodes do, and that's being super slow paced. Without exaggeration, the only things that progress the plot are eating, sleeping, and watching TV. On top of that, Gumball and Darwin try to drag Larry in the mix but end up just ruining his life in the process. They get him fired, they blow up his car and get him dumped, all for Larry to not even get up to fight Richard. It could have been cooler if they were in an actual competition and Larry wanted to join. Maybe there could have been a cool montage of Larry working out to be lazy. But instead, we get an episode that features Gumball and Darwin at their worst and Richard at his most annoying. In the end, he doesn't even get punished because he blames his laziness on Nicole, who should know more than anyone that the bunny's lying through his buck teeth. Number 34, The Genius. When Darwin is taken away for genius testing, Gumball attempts to train his brain to save him. This plot is so predictable. Of course Darwin isn't really smart and Anais filled out the test. It would help if they didn't keep cutting back to Darwin trying to answer a question with Expo marker all over his face. Of course Gumball isn't going to be smart enough to match Anais' test scores. It doesn't help that they make him dumb as a nail this episode too, like he can't even read a book correctly.
That's it. They're all watching books.
What are you, cuckoo?
It's also weird, I don't like how Gumball's brain is just out for half the episode and it's just his own character. It feels like it should have popped out for a gag, but it takes up most of the screen time in the second half. And then there's Richard and Nicole freaking out and trying to make Rocky the new Darwin, which I don't even know where to start with this one.
Dad, can I borrow Mom's car tonight?
The fact that Rocky is a grown-ass man and he's sitting around the house with random kids half naked is the least of this episode's problems. All the humor is just jokes about how dumb Gumball and Darwin are, which makes for an insufferable experience. Glad Rocky got a happy ending though.
Will you solve the equation?
Yeah. After my pedicure.
Number 33, The Robot. When Bobbert laments about wanting to be a real boy, Gumball and Darwin help him out, but it turns sour fast when Bobbert attempts to imitate Gumball. This episode has a fantastic start. I love how the plot is so trivial because the kids are making fun of Bobbert for being a robot, like there's not a dinosaur, a ghost, and a damn banana in the same shots. Clearly this is not a normal school.
I'm a banana.
But it starts to get unsettling when Bobbert starts pretending to be Gumball. Not only is it dumb because no one seems to recognize that this terrible Gumball cosplay is fake as hell, not even his own family can recognize the difference, but it also feels unnecessarily cruel to Gumball, who is only trying to help Bobbert with no gain of his own. You could just write it off as, oh, Bobbert's a robot, so he's not really thinking about Gumball's feelings. But even so, it's just not funny. Like, they really ride home how miserable Gumball's life is. He can't eat at school, he gets his crush stolen, he sleeps outside with a leaf as a blanket under a sprinkler, all for what? For trying to help? Number 32, The Goons. Anais learns how to be dumb like the boys in the family. This episode has nice moments. I do like the gags with the blind race at the end. I also think the idea of Anais trying to learn to be dumb is a fun concept, especially when they visualize that joke in the episode.
Don't take notes.
But then it starts to take a turn with Gumball getting jealous of his sister and thinking that she wants to take their dad from him. And it doesn't seem like the case initially, but they really force the plot with shameless dialogue.
We didn't hear you. We're having too much fun. Oh, this couch is really perfect for 3 people.
Yeah, if we had a 4th person, it would be kind of cramped.
By the time we get to Gumball thinking that he's losing his dad to Anais, the episode's pretty much over. It just seems like the plot wasn't very focused this time around. Also, that Gumball and Nicole scene felt like a scene straight out of The Office.
Done. So I'm gonna go this way.
Sure. Oh, sorry. I'll go that way.
I don't know what the that was.
Number 31, the end. Gumball and Darwin are convinced that the world will end in 24 hours. This episode is boring, and that's for one main reason. It's not actually the end of the world. Every event that Gumball and Darwin see that makes them think it's the end of the world is revealed to be a coincidence or unrelated. There's a swarm of birds, but that's because they went to go eat the Toast character who's eating a sandwich? How does food politics work in this universe? Even when it's revealed that there will be a solar eclipse, we, the audience, as well as the smart characters in universe, know that there's no danger. There's never any tension because we know the whole time that there's no danger. So when the eclipse comes, and spoiler alert, there's no danger, it leaves us with a boring plot. Also, that bit at the end where they fall into the porta potty, disgusting. Number 30, the debt. When Mr. Robinson saves Gumball's life, Gumball swears to return the favor. The first half of the episode is pretty subpar. It mainly just involves Gumball trying to save Mr. Robinson from things that aren't dangerous but hurting him in the process. Well, he might have been on to something with the tanning bed. Don't use tanning beds, kids. They're not good for you. Also, why would he need to tan? Does he want to turn a deeper shade of blue? It's not super funny. That scene of Robinson trying to eat his heart after Gumball shoots it out is more unnerving than anything. But once the episode gets to Mr. Robinson's show, it's surprisingly epic. I love how Darwin and Anais try to help Gumball by putting Mr. Robinson in danger to be saved, but they accidentally end up making the show a smash hit. The song boosts up this episode's score for at least having something memorable. Number 29, the date. Gumball gets asked on a date by Penny, but gets surprised when the date turns out to be a pet funeral. It's a classic setup. Gumball gets simple advice, but ends up getting overtaken by his paranoia and goes for the sillier option. The first half of the episode is pretty boring and kind of annoying. Watching Richard blow his nose into a stack of 20s and fishing out clothes for Gumball from the dump makes me wonder how CPS haven't taken the kids away. And the date itself doesn't go much better. Gumball ends up embarrassing himself in various different ways at the funeral, but he redeems himself by finding the pet and returning it to Penny. The ending's pretty dumb, but then again, so is most of the episode. There's a few chuckle-worthy lines, so in the end, it rounds out to a mediocre score. Number 28, the curse. When Gumball is afflicted with a strange curse, he attempts various methods to rid himself of it. Bro, why is that freaky-ass portrait from the dress framed in their house? Similar to the robot, this episode feels overly cruel to Gumball for no reason. He doesn't get cursed for doing something bad, he doesn't get cursed for messing with a wizard or something. Bad things just happen because that's what the plot of the episode is. And the reason they do use for him being cursed is pretty stupid. The only thing saving this episode is the action scene at the end. Shout out that one YouTube poop where they edit Gumball into Mario Kart. And that stinger joke at the end where they get the tickets that they wish for, but they get shredded up, hilarious.
Yay! I wished for snow!
Also, this might be nitpicky, but why is the truck that Gumball ran off the road still driving the truck after the ticker joke? Like, they give him bandages to show that, yeah, he was also hurt, but Gumball is in the hospital. Does bro need to check that bag? Like he said F medical leave for real. Number 27, the third. When Gumball and Darwin get bored of each other, they look for a third friend to shake things up. Ironically enough, this was the first episode I watched on streaming services. I don't know if it's the first episode overall, but it's pretty funny seeing one of the first few episodes be about our main characters already getting sick of each other. The pacing of this episode is cripplingly slow. It feels like a real kids show conflict with Gumball and Darwin scoping out their school for new friends and coming up short. By the time they finally get to Tobias, the episode doesn't have much time to flesh out a conflict. Darwin clings to Tobias and already has a handshake with him, blowing off Gumball with little to no escalation. They spend the second half of the episode getting Gumball to go on a semi-epic journey to go get his friend back, which just amounts to Darwin being bored without Gumball. There's not a lot of tension here. I like the overall atmosphere. Despite the slow pacing, the characters feel very genuine, and I can be forgiving because it seems like an episode made to help set up the Gumball universe. Also, I love that joke where Gumball and Bobbert are trying to be friends and Bobbert cocks his arm back to hit him. Number 26, the mustache. Gumball and Darwin accidentally eat supplements that turn them into men. Not much to say about this episode. It's a simple story with a fine ending. I love the looks of horror from all the parents seeing the adultish looking kids on the playground. It's just not super funny to me. The only other things I had of note was Alan's poorly looped floating cycle, and the fact that Miss Simeon is pointing to a chart of a human to show what puberty is when there's no actual humans in the class. In fact, the closest thing to a human would either be Sussy or Miss Simeon herself. And speaking of, number 25, the ape. When Miss Simeon finds out she's never won an award for best teacher, for good reason, she attempts to con Gumball and Darwin into writing her a recommendation. Another middle-of-the-road episode saved by an awesome climax. The first half of the plot is pretty weird, with Simeon just following around Gumball until he offers to be her friend, which results in them having great times like licking imaginary ice cream cones in gross detail, and her blowing raspberries into Richard's stomach like his wife isn't right there. It just makes me feel a little uncomfortable as a viewer. A few solid jokes and a good ending save this episode from falling any lower. Number 24, the club. Gumball has trouble finding a club to fit into. This episode actually takes a bit to find a conflict. Initially, it's Gumball going to everyone's club and then getting kicked out, and then he tries to make his own club, and then he gets offered to join the Reject Club, rejects them, and then the actual conflict begins, with the Reject Club threatening to release a video that will ruin Gumball's reputation. The video itself is comedy gold. It's just a pair of braces clearly not being Gumball's voice, saying a bunch of absurdities over a single image.
My name is Gumball Watterson and my IQ is smaller than my shoe size. I wore diapers up till the age of 11 and I once got detention for calling Miss Simeon Mom.
Like bro, nowadays this will make the front page of Instagram. The ending is nice as well, with everyone using their club skills to help Gumball get the video deleted. That's a nice touch. I wish they would have spent more of the episode setting up the rivalry between Gumball and the Reject Club, but it's a fine entry. Number 23, the responsible. Gumball and Darwin get trusted to watch Anais for the day.
Hi, I'm here to sit on the baby.
You what? I'm not sure about the logistics of the water flooding the house like that, especially with the water randomly shooting out of the fireplace. But the episode has a nice bit of action, and watching Gumball and Darwin fumble being older brothers is slightly amusing. Plus, that babysitter joke will always get a laugh out of me. Number 22, the secret. Darwin has a secret that he can't tell Gumball. Another episode with a simple setup. There's a secret that Gumball wants to know, and will do anything to get it. It's not a super funny episode, but it has a lot of little gems, like the aforementioned scene of Gumball destroying Darwin after he says he won't tell him the secret, or the little back and forth the two have after Darwin shares his underwhelming secret. Not to mention the real secret is an embarrassing video of Gumball dancing and destroying everything, which was hilarious to see. Number 21, the picnic. Gumball and Darwin get lost in the Forest of Doom. One thing I will commend this episode for is that it gets set up really fast. The picnic feels way longer than 11 minutes because of how much time they dedicate to showing the two lost in the Forest of Doom. It's a great set piece, and it's really interesting watching Gumball and Darwin traverse through the forest and watch them engage with the backgrounds. That being said, there's not much past the visuals for this one. Gumball is a terrible survivor and gets the two lost in the forest. They eventually find their way out, but gets lost again at the end when everyone goes back to the bus. There's more food ethic questions though, because why is a banana allowed to eat a hamburger? Like, what makes the difference between food and talking food? Whatever. Another solid episode that I wish had a bit more on the humor side. Number 20, the microwave. Gumball and Darwin create a creature in their microwave and try to take care of it. I didn't remember this episode at all when I first watched it, and even writing notes for this video left me stumped because I couldn't remember the plot all too well. It's basically Gumball and Darwin raising a kid, except the kid isn't a kid, it's an amalgamation of a bunch of nasty stuff from around the house. The episode tries to do more horror and humor, which isn't bad. It makes for an interesting watch at least. I like the joke of Darwin going to leave after Gumball says that he'll be the dad. The ending is so predictable though. Of course, when they say the monster is going to behave, it rampages again. It's like the rest of the episode was for nothing, so I had to knock it down a few points. Number 19, the prank. When Gumball and Darwin get pranked by their dad, it turns into an all-out prank war. A simple concept that ends up with a lot of funny one-liners. I mostly like this episode for Richard getting destroyed in various ways.
No, it isn't. It's only funny when it happens to someone else.
I don't know what it is about season 1 Richard that makes me so mad. Watching him get owned by pranks eases my mind a bit. Anyway, I like the misdirect of Richard seemingly going insane after the boys accidentally leave him stranded in the middle of the ocean. The cement hanging off the door looks malicious, but no, Richard's just dumb and put wet cement up there. There's a lot of physical gags that work here. My only complaint is that Richard acts like a baby when he gets pranked, and Nicole demands that Gumball and Darwin apologize when they get him back. Like, this is a grown-ass man pranking his kids instead of looking for a damn job. Grow some tougher skin, bunny. Oh, wait, not like that, not like. Number 18, the pressure. When Masami labels Darwin as her boyfriend, Gumball has to save his friend from getting kissed. Never noticed how most of the girls in season 1 are voiced by the same voice actor, but it was really noticeable when they were all in a treehouse together.
I wish I had a boyfriend.
He's in high school. Mine's so old, he stopped wearing braces.
My boyfriend's so old that he doesn't have a babysitter.
Wow.
Also, why is there a bathroom up there?
I went for understated sheet.
Anyway, Masami's kind of a jerk in this episode. Normally, Gumball and Darwin flaking from the easy answer is what gets them caught, but Darwin point blank tells Masami that he doesn't want to kiss her, and she fake cries to get him back. I know middle school was bad, but this is just awful. On top of that, there's a dumb scene where Darwin hides in the pool from Masami.
She won't find me down here. She hates getting her hair wet.
What hair? Anyway, he comes up gasping for air like he can't breathe underwater, but he's a fish? And when you think, did they forget that he's a fish? Nope, in the very next scene, there's a reference to him being a fish.
You don't want to kiss me? I taste like fish.
So it's a stupid plot device to get him out of the water. That being said, there are a lot of funny jokes in this episode, especially between Banana Joe and Tobias. The ending is hilarious too, with Tobias and Banana Joe accidentally making Gumball and Darwin kiss each other. Not beating the allegations, huh, Gumball? Number 17, the wand. When Richard gets a wand, Gumball and Darwin have to grant his wishes to keep him happy. This is one of the better Richard episodes, if not for Gumball and Darwin carrying it with a pretty heavy, sincere reason. To keep Richard from screaming and never believing in magic, Gumball and Darwin grant all his wildest dreams in some pretty silly ways. I love the fight scene between Richard,
The Bunny Warlock!
and Mr. Robinson. It's such a wacky sequence that I can't help but laugh. It also leads to the stinger joke at the end.
I wish you didn't have that ridiculous haircut. I wish I hadn't said that.
But it's yet another episode of Richard being overly loud and pompous. There's some wishes he makes to Gumball and Darwin that are pretty weird as well. In the end, they do everything for nothing because even after Richard thanks his kids for putting on an act for him, he ends up screaming like a baby anyway. Number 16, the painting. When Anais makes a questionable family portrait, Principal Brown steps in to change her family. Is it normal for principals to diagnose an entire family through a picture like this? It'd be one thing if it was some violent material, but how did he gather all this info about the family from a simple drawing? I mean, he's not wrong, but he sure as hell ain't a mind reader. Anyway, despite such an odd setup, this episode is incredibly funny. Most notably the scenes with Mr. Small trying to teach Gumball and Darwin how to be more quiet, which of course involves screaming, fighting, and making a huge mess. Nicole being so obsessed with cleaning stuff that she ends up breaking stuff to clean it is pretty comical, and Richard's plot of trying to get a job has a couple laughs as well. Really, the only thing holding this episode back is the plot. They do a lot of switching around, so I don't feel like there's any stakes to be had here. But it's funny enough to where you're not really thinking about the overarching theme of, oh yeah, they're supposed to be getting better. Number 15, the ghost. Gumball lets Carrie use his body to eat, but it quickly grows out of hand when she can't stop eating. This episode is just the pressure, but instead of Masami, it's Carrie. And it works! I love the sequence of Gumball eating the food. It's all wobbly and disjointed. There's no filler here either, just a steady escalation of Gumball progressively getting bigger because of Carrie's gluttony. There's a nice battle the two have before they resolve their issue with a bit of a non-ending. That's the only part I didn't like, but a lot of Gumball endings are like that, so it's not enough to damper a good episode. Number 14, the refund. Gumball and Darwin pester Larry to get a refund on a video game. It's a classic cartoon setup. Our main characters need something, but there's an authority stopping their progress. There's a lot of funny moments. I love the 90s parody they do to guilt Larry into giving them a refund. They really nail the reference there. The misdirect on the boss is really funny too. Like, no way Larry was scared of a damn sock monkey. My only issue is, again, the ending. They should have got the refund regardless of whether or not they realized they bought the game for the wrong console. So the fact that the manager scammed them into paying $600 for a shredder is kinda wild. I guess you could call it even because Gumball and Darwin were bothering Larry, and Richard technically did steal from the register, but they should have been able to get the refund in the first place. Number 13, the DVD. Gumball and Darwin accidentally destroy a DVD and have to find a way to replace it. This episode is very well paced. There's a lot of funny gags with Gumball and Darwin trying to find various ways to either pay for the DVD or weasel their way out of it. Meanwhile, the whole way Darwin tries to take responsibility for the DVD. I guess he learned his lesson after flooding the house. All leading up to Nicole chasing the two through the town for the climax. Very entertaining. Also, that movie parody is genius. Number 12. No, not Poltergeist, the Poltergeist. Gumball and Darwin attempt to fix Mr. Robinson's marriage. This episode actually takes a while to start, which is probably my only criticism here. The main plot is Gumball and Darwin trying to make a depressive Robinson happy in their attic, while Richard hears all the noise and assumes it's a ghost. I never noticed how well the two plots blend with each other. For instance, when Richard is arguing with Nicole about the ghost, Mr. Robinson snaps out of his funk because it reminds him of how he used to argue with Mrs. Robinson, which is the center of the episode. And after being stuck with Gumball and Darwin all day, Richard thinking that he's a ghost and trying to suck him with the vacuum cleaner is the final straw. The outburst he has where he tries to break their stuff and fails spectacularly is hilarious, and I like that in the end, that's what Mrs. Robinson returns to him for. It's a nice, albeit very toxic moment that leaves the episode on a happy note for everyone. Well, everyone except for Nicole. Number 11, the mystery. When Principal Brown gets hurt, everyone comes together to find out who the culprit is. There's a lot of really weird voice acting quirks in this episode. I'm not sure if this one was recorded earlier in the production, but all the voice actors feel off. Anyway, it's a classic murder mystery and it takes a bit to build the tension, but this episode can get away with it because it's super funny. I love how all of Gumball's flashbacks are in black and white to add to the hamminess of his absurd guesses. Rocky and Bobber steal the show as well with a lot of really funny one-liners. And the ending is nice too. They hit a clever misdirect by having it be Miss Simeon completely by accident. You'd think she'd get away with it after she wipes Bobbert's memory, but then she gets hurt in the exact same way. Hell, arguably worse. We finally break into the top 10 with the sock. When Gumball and Darwin get caught lying at school, Mr. Small attempts to teach them how to tell the truth. Not sure how I can review this episode without thinking about that one YTP.
Darwin! Made our homework.
This episode is hilarious. Mr. Smalls and Rocky absolutely carry. Honesty Bear is in the Gumball Hall of Fame of characters too. I love the natural escalation in this episode. At first, the two go around telling nothing but the truth, which is just them viciously hurting people. Then they're told to say the truth unless it hurts someone's feelings, which results in them lying to Principal Brown about his head being on fire. Then Mr. Small just tells them to stop talking altogether, which means when he hurts himself after being all smug, they have to wordlessly ask everyone for help. Sorry if I sound like a broken record in this review, but again, the ending here. First of all, the fact that Richard actually ate the boys' homework and that's what started this is so stupid, even for him. Secondly, it feels so anticlimactic. They get the police called and in the end, Richard just falls to the floor crying and that's pretty much the end of the story. It ends so abruptly. Number 9, the fight. Gumball has to fight Tina after Anais tries to get her to stop bullying him. The fight feels like an authentic romp through middle school. The pacing is a bit slow, even the talking at times feels slow, but it helps build a bit of reality to the story. My favorite part was the entire conflict being a misunderstanding. Tina's a huge scary dinosaur, so naturally people are gonna assume she's the guilty party. Meanwhile, Tina and Gumball both thought they were just having fun. It's a very wholesome story that has a very heartwarming ending. Also, a greatly animated fight scene. I never noticed how many different animation styles the show has, but it's impressive. I especially love the scene of Gumball running down the hall to Mr. Small's office. It feels so well directed. Number 8, the quest. When Anais's Daisy toy gets accidentally into the claws of Tina, Gumball and Darwin must get it back. An episode so good that it spawned one of the best games on Cartoon Network. Can all my Dino Donkey Dash fans put their hands in the air for me? Anyway, another great episode with Tina. There's not much to say here, there's a lot of funny jokes, there's the action and tension filled middle section where they have to sneak into Tina's hideout, which I didn't mention was a junkyard. It was also present in the fight, I just thought it was interesting to mention. There's also the ending, which is sweet, where Anais lets Tina keep her toys so she can be safe at night. She even says that she doesn't need Daisy because she has Gumball and Darwin. It's so adorable. Number 7, the car. Gumball and Darwin get stuck doing chores for Mr. Robinson. This episode is what the debt should have been like. In fact, I'm surprised this isn't just called the debt because it starts with Gumball and Darwin having to pay a debt to Mr. Robinson after knocking his wife's wig off. The car itself doesn't play a role until later in the episode. When Darwin and Gumball get told to clean Mr. Robinson's car, they smash it instantly, which shocked me on first watch considering how creepily well they were doing with the other chores. But it's revealed that everyone else in the family dented and broke the car before Gumball and Darwin even took a crack at it. The Robinsons rightfully get their revenge by hilariously smashing up the Wattersons' car. Also, side note, but I love the puppet-like way that Robinson rages out here. Go crazy! Go stupid! But they end up getting arrested when the police get called. It feels like an even trade on both sides. Number 6, the spoon. When Richard forgets to buy a gift for Nicole, he sends Gumball and Darwin to the gas station to get one. Robbery hijinks ensue. Yet another episode plagued by the YouTube poop curse.
What would they do about this?
This episode is just plain fun. It's super fast paced with jokes everywhere, most notably everyone being scared of the robber with a spoon of all things. I don't know if it's supposed to be a parody or a reference to some other piece of media, but it's super funny, let me tell you. There's a bunch of funny moments and an epic climax. What more could you ask for with a Gumball episode? Rounding out the top 5, we have the helmet. When Gumball gives away his lucky helmet, it tears the family apart. I found myself loving the helmet progressively more and more as it went on. Considering there was a whole episode about Gumball having a curse, this idea seems like a natural inverse. It's about how Nicole, Richard, and Gumball all abused the helmet and end up fighting over it. I would have gotten mad about the scene of Richard lying to Nicole, but the fact that she ends up nailing the interview without luck, but loses out because she crashes out from Richard's thievery makes up for it. The first half of the episode is already great, but the second half where Darwin and Anais have to trek through the dump to dispose of the helmet feels like an epic excursion. I love how Darwin puts the hat on and gets riches on riches and still wants to get rid of the helmet. It just puts another notch on his belt for being such a wholesome character. Wait, can I say notch on his belt? Because he doesn't actually wear clothes. The ensuing fight between a souped up on luck Gumball against Darwin and Anais is great too. When Gumball drops his helmet in the crusher, I legit felt goosebumps. The writers really know how to make a scene feel dramatic in the moment. Number 4, the party. Tobias' sister throws a party. This episode feels like a special with how much happens in 11 minutes. It's all over the place in the best way possible. I have so many questions. How did Gumball not get Penny's cute peanut butter proposal? I haven't seen this episode in ages and even I picked up on that. Also, why do Miss Simeon and Principal Brown want to crash a high school party that gets swarmed by middle schoolers? And why do they actually become the life of the party? Alan is a balloon, so is he technically motorboating these balloons here? So many questions left unanswered, so much absurdity in this episode, and yet they still have time for a sweet ending between Gumball and Penny and Darwin and Rachel. It's another episode with that signature kid show energy, hard not to love it. Now with these top 3 episodes, it got really close. I'm gonna have to give the bronze medal to The Kiss. Gumball feels as if he's too old for his Granny JoJo's kisses. I didn't expect this episode to make the top 3, but after watching it back, yeah, it definitely deserves that medal. It makes me upset at other episodes for being boring when Gumball can make something as minute as getting a kiss from your grandma into a big spectacle. There's so many memorable moments in this episode, from Granny JoJo's names for all the kids.
Hello, dear. Hello, walking fish. Here's the blue one.
To Gumball thinking that everything looks like his grandma's lips. Also, bro, the kiss demon? I was on the floor dying at that. This leads Darwin to put Gumball through a gauntlet of events that are way worse than the kiss to forget the kiss. We get even more gems, like everyone shouting the quadruple S. Or even the little stuff like Gumball forgetting about the kiss until Darwin reminds him by asking. It's just a good time all around. My number 2 pick and the silver medal of season 1 goes to the gi. Gumball and Darwin get obsessed with karate. This episode captures Gumball and Darwin at their core, 2 kids who just want to have fun. The scenes with the 2 getting bullied at school legit gave me secondhand embarrassment and bad flashbacks to my middle school days, which I do like in story, but man is it hard for me to rewatch. When Nicole sees her boys getting bullied, she tries to convince them that they're dorking out. But they're kids, of course they're gonna be oblivious. And karate of all things? Like, karate is cool. Karate Kid is one of my favorite movies of all time. Sorry, not that one, the Jaden Smith version. I love the song in the episode, which I didn't remember when I was a kid. It's amazing, you really feel how torn up the 2 are over having to grow up, so to speak. Gumball and Darwin sneak to school with the karate gi on, but Darwin starts to get some doubts about the coolness of their outfits. Before long, Gumball ends up embarrassing himself in front of everyone trying to perform a karate move that's as old as time. But just as it seems the story's over and the 2 learn their lesson the hard way, Penny comes out and supports the duo, even doing a bit of sparring with them. This inspires Nicole to let Richard nerd out like he used to as well, which was such a cute touch to end the episode off with. And my number 1 spot, the best episode in Gumball season 1, hands down, the Meddler. When Gumball feels unseen by his parents, Nicole tags along with Gumball at school. I remember watching this episode a lot as a kid when it first came out, but I haven't seen it basically since it's aired, and it is hilarious from start to finish. There's not a moment that goes by without a good joke here. Gumball trying to argue with his mom but needing her to burp him mid-sentence. Gumball saying he loves peanuts instead of Penny because again, what the hell are food ethics in this world? There's Darwin smiling and talking with gritted teeth because he's embarrassed as well. The entire sequence of Nicole stuck to Gumball's hip, the cheerleading scene, like oh my gosh. All the while Nicole is making hilarious wisecracks and generally trying to care for Gumball. In the end, most of the things that Gumball blames on his mom, he ends up doing to himself. He goes off on Penny twice with his own comments, but gets to come out on top after embarrassing himself in the funniest way possible. 10 out of 10 episode, cannot recommend enough. Now that we've reviewed every episode, I'll average them all out so we can get a definitive score for the season. Adding up all 36 episodes, we get our final season ranking of pretty much a 6.5 out of 10, which honestly isn't bad for a first season. There was a surplus of episodes with hilarious scenes and brilliant animation, but there were a lot of episodes with that signature season 1 funk that a lot of first season shows have. We're still getting a grasp on who these characters are, what their motivations are, and the overall tone of the show, so it's forgivable here. My favorite character this season is without a doubt Mr. Small. His weird hippie teacher quirks are so funny to me, plus his voice is really calming as well. Runner-up goes to Rocky and Bobbert as well. My least favorite here is probably Richard. I don't think there's much to explain here. Richard's just a typical dumb TV dad this season and causes a lot of the problems in the stories. Lastly, I have some final notes. These are just things that I noticed while I was watching the season and I felt like they were important enough to share. Richard plots feel especially slow, probably because he's always stuck in the house and dumb people humor is just naturally slow. Gumball is naked a lot in this season. Darwin is extremely likable as a sidekick. I think Nicole and Richard feel unexplored or kind of basic for most of the season. Of course, there's exceptions like the Meddler where they get time to shine, but overall, I feel like they're just kinda still finding the motions as to what they are. Dodger Dare gets mentioned often, but never played. I remember there being an episode about the game, but it's funny how it's brought up several times in the season without anyone actually seeing the game to completion. Tina episodes are really good, shockingly. Whenever Tina's a main character in the episode, the outcome is always a great one. Whether she be the main antagonist like the quest or the fight, or just another side character with funny moments like the Meddler or the party. She's a very underrated character. That's all I got for you guys in this video. Check in with me next time if season 2 of Gumball can raise the bar. Take care, everyone. Whoa, Flux end card, that's new. Thank you guys for all your support. Really means a lot. Hopefully this video does well. Like I said in the beginning, I literally had this video edited and done. Well, not done. I had the script edited and done a while back and I had started. I got through probably the first fourth of this video and then all my voice files just got randomly corrupted. So I ended up scrapping the whole video and I was super down about that. It honestly made me want to quit low key. Not even just this video, but just like stop making videos because bro, it was really demoralizing. But obviously I came back, I sidelined this video to do some other stuff just to kind of let it breathe. And then I came back and I'm feeling good about it. I'm feeling good. I just did all the voice lines. So I already know this video is about to be super long. I think it's like 40 minutes just of me talking without adding the episodes and all that. So y'all are in for a long video. I know y'all like the longer style of videos. So hope y'all enjoy this one. I finished this script like a year ago, like on the dot, probably by the time you're seeing this. It was like April 29th of 2025. So hopefully that's when I can get this video out. That'd be crazy if it took a year. I feel like I'd be having so many scripts and so many different ideas for videos that when I actually do get the video done, I look back and I'm like, wow, my process is really long. I feel like it's different because I'm in school, so I have other things that I'm gonna be focused on naturally, but you know, it is what it is. That's enough yabbing out of me though, because this video is already long enough. I don't want to have to edit anymore. Hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like if you haven't. If you're still listening, comment pineapple so that I know you're an OG. Put a pineapple down below and I'll heart your comment because you're a real one. But that's it. Thank you guys again. Done talking. Enjoy the rest of your day.